Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It is like super early here. It's about 5:30 in the morning. I thought I would just go ahead and get started with day 4 of foundation week. So I've got the Mer Reparative Skin Tint with an SPF 30. I have it in the shade Light 02. And I have a funny story about this. I got a sample of this, tried it out, liked it enough to go ahead and purchase the actual full-size product. But haven't used it. So it's just been sitting there in my drawer, and I thought I would take the opportunity of foundation week to go ahead and whip it back out, actually use it. This is basically going to be a second impressions because I liked it enough to go out and buy it, but I don't really remember why I liked it. So let's discover together. If you're interested in more information about this, watching me apply it, give you my final thoughts and review on this at the end of the day, then just keep on watching. Alright, here we go. I am just reading the back of this Mer box just to kind of get some of the claims here. It perfects the complexion instantly and over time. It basically has the Mer Miracle Broth in here, which is great. SPF 30, environmental stressors, blah, blah, blah. So it actually talks a little bit more about the skincare benefits than it does about what this product should do for your complexion. If you guys have been with me for any amount of time, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Mer cream, and I've been using the soft moisturizing lotion. I absolutely love it. I think it's been a lifesaver for my dry, sensitive, eczema-prone skin. So I'm just surprised I haven't really been using this, and I think because it's like a tinted SPF, I was kind of waiting for this warmer weather to come up. So anyway, let's give this a shot. I'm going to go ahead and open it. It doesn't have any instructions about application, fingers or sponge or, brush or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and try it with a brush first. I have my Zoeva Face Shape brush. I'm going to try that today. Doesn't sound liquidy. So again, I got it in the color Light. So here is the texture. It's very lotiony, so it's not very runny at all. I'm going to go ahead and dab this on. I'll start with one side of my face. And I'm going to go ahead and use this brush. Oh, I should tell you, I purchased it off of Nordstrom, and I believe it's $95. I should have mentioned that before, sorry. I feel like there's a faint fragrance. So there it is on half of my face. I'm getting like the Chanel vibes from yesterday. It's very, very light coverage. It is exactly what it's saying. It's just a tint. But I like what it's doing to my complexion. I think it's giving it a really nice, healthy glow. It's pretty tacky right now, so I wonder if that's going to set down. Again, I've washed my face and I've moisturized, but that's it. I don't have any primer down or anything. I think I'm going to go so far as to say that the coverage is even lighter than the Chanel. In terms of unevenness in my complexion, the worst is around my eyes. The skin around my eyes is fairly dark and sallow in complexion, so it did even that out a bit. I don't know if you can see the difference here. But it really is like almost imperceptible. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bit more to this side of my face and see if we see any kind of like complexion perfecting. This, by the way, has a 24-month shelf life. I'm only pointing that out because I'm a little bit surprised. I feel like foundations, especially cream products, usually have a shorter shelf life, like 18. Yeah, I'm looking at Ilia's foundation that has a 12-month shelf life. Okay, now that I have it over my entire face, I do feel like it has evened out my skin tone just a bit. I feel like it's toned down the redness around my nose a bit. I like this sort of healthy glow that it's giving my skin. I don't feel like I look oily or greasy. I feel like I just look very, very healthy. Oh wow, I got a whole bunch in my hair. How to get makeup out of your hair. Let's try makeup wipe. Alright, so here is the skin tint. Very, very natural look. This is definitely one of those like no makeup kind of products. I want to say I feel like it's oxidizing a little bit. I feel like my skin tone is quite different from my neck, and I feel like it started out a little bit closer. So I think it is oxidizing a little bit on me. Not horribly, I usually have to bronze up my neck anyway because it is so much paler than the rest of my face, but this is like very, very noticeable. So I think it oxidized a bit. I don't think it went on this dark. This is an interesting product. While I think it oxidized a little bit, I also think it kind of gave me a little bit more coverage. It's getting a little bit less tacky. It was really tacky when I first put it on. So without thinking, I applied the skin tint with this brush to my entire face. I apologize. But I'm glad that I did because it is so sheer that I think a sponge would have just sheared it out even more. So it does go on nicely with a brush. All right, so per usual, I am going to forego concealer and powder, at least for this morning. I want to see, again, how this product works all on its own, and I will put on a little bit of makeup. I definitely need to bronze up my neck, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back. So it has been about an hour since I started. It's about 6:30 now. I started about 5:30, and I put a few powder products on my cheeks today. I didn't go with cream products like I did. I think I did all 3 previous days during foundation week because, again, I didn't want to kind of disturb what was going on. But I can already tell that this is going to be a very glowy product. So I was like, let me put some powder product down. I can already see like the tip of my nose is starting to look a little too glowy. I'm not going to powder. I want to see how glowy it gets and kind of show you at my first check-in, which is usually around lunchtime. But other than this area, the glowiness actually looks very nice. I think it looks very, very healthy, like on my forehead and along my cheeks and everything. I did bronze up my neck, so I think it is matching a bit more. So I think the oxidizing has stopped. Hopefully this is as dark as it's going to get. So far I'm liking it. The only thing I didn't like is the oxidization, but that's it. Other than that, it's very comfortable. I think giving it some time to kind of settle into the skin, it did start to kind of perfect my complexion a little bit more than when I just put it on and kind of looked in the mirror. I think it needed time to kind of settle in a little bit. So yeah, so I'm going to be back at around lunchtime, which will be, gosh, at that point it'll be like a 7-hour check-in. God, it's too early. Hey guys, it is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I've had this foundation on for about 7.5 hours already, and I think this is one of those foundations that looks better and better as the day goes on. Isn't that weird? What do you guys think? I think it looks really good, and I feel like it has just kind of sunk in and melted onto my skin. Just to give you kind of like random backstory, I just ran out of my La Mer Soft Moisturizing Lotion, and that's the moisturizer that I use day and night. I just love it. I love La Mer moisturizers. I used to be an avid fan of the cream, the original cream. That's a little bit too heavy for me these days, but the lotion I just absolutely love, and I swear by it. But I ran out of it, I want to say like a day and a half ago, basically like 3 applications ago, and anyway, I haven't gotten a chance to repurchase it yet. So I've been using other moisturizers that I have, like samples or whatever, and so my skin just hasn't felt the same. You know when your skin just loves and is used to a particular moisturizer, even if you use another moisturizer, that's fine, you know, that it's doing its job, it just doesn't feel the same. But now that I've had this skin tint on from La Mer, I feel like my skin is starting to feel a little bit better. Like it's starting to feel like I've been using my La Mer lotion. So I think I can attest to the fact that this definitely has skincare properties in it, and I really love the way my skin looks now, even after 7.5 hours. And I haven't had a particularly strenuous day. I haven't had to run errands. I didn't go to the dog park or anything, but it's been really warm, and so I've been kind of, you know, kind of sweaty a little bit warm. And I feel like my skin just looks really healthy. It just looks really, really nice. The skin tint itself isn't, you know, doing anything weird. It's not breaking up, it's not caking up, it's not emphasizing texture, it's not sinking into pores. I will say the tip of my nose definitely looks a little bit beyond shiny. It definitely has entered the realm of oily, but it's been 7.5 hours, so I'm not really surprised. And again, I haven't put any powder on at all, but I think my skin looks really great, if I do say so myself. I feel like my skin looks really, really great. Radiant without being too oily. The coverage is really even, and like I said, I feel like it's just melded with my skin really, really nicely. So I am super impressed with this so far. Now I know why I went back after having a sample and getting the full bottle. Now I get it, because now I kind of remember that I just really love the way it just made my skin look. Like, it just really made me look really, really healthy. So there's my 7.5 hour check-in. I will probably do another check-in at around like 4 or 5, and that'll give us 11, almost 12 hours of wear, and we'll see how it looks at that point. I'll see you soon. Alright guys, it is 4:30 in the afternoon, so I've had this makeup on for about 11 hours, and I do definitely have some thoughts on this. I think that sorry, my doggy just walked by. So I do have some thoughts on this. One, it is definitely very glowy. I am glowing, but this is like the La Mer glow. I'm just like shy of just looking like just flat out oily. I just look very glowy. So I kind of like that as someone who is in their 40s, someone who has always suffered from dry skin. If I can get this kind of like glowy look, I like really, really love it. So I like the finish of this so far. I hope you can see all the glowiness coming off here. Let me see if I turn this down. Does that help? Maybe that helps, but yeah. So there's the glow to my skin. I love the way this makes my complexion look. I feel like this has a lot more skincare going on than any of the other foundations I've tested out so far. Even though the Sunday Riley, the Ilia, I don't think the Chanel one did so much, but I know those two, the first two that I reviewed, they claimed a lot of kind of skincare benefits and this and that, and it's infused with this oil and this herb, but the La Mer one definitely feels the most nourishing. It definitely settles onto my skin just beautifully. The product really just sort of melts over my skin. And I said this all in my first check-in, so not much has happened. The only difference is I'm definitely much glowier than I was at the first check-in. So while I don't mind the color that this sort of oxidized to, because it kind of gave me like a nice bronzy look, I don't like the fact that it oxidized, because it just makes it unpredictable, and I just feel like mentally you kind of never know what you're getting. Like, I don't feel like it's always going to oxidize to the same degree. I feel like that's always going to shift a little bit because there's just factors that are out of your control. So I don't like that. But other than that, I really, really like this skin tint. I think it looks really beautiful on the skin. I think if you're interested in trying a La Mer moisturizer, give this a shot, because I feel like this has the skincare benefits, maybe not quite as much as a full-on moisturizer or like the OG cream, but this will give you an idea of a La Mer product on your skin, because it is a very sort of specific feeling, which I can't even describe. People who don't like it say that it just sort of sits on their skin, but for me, it's more of like a slow absorption, and it's like this protective barrier over your face. And I kind of feel the same way about this skin tint. Like, it took a couple hours for it to really reach its, I feel like it's full capacity. Like, it sunk in, it started to like warm up with my skin, it just melded onto my skin, and it started to look really, really flawless. And by my first check-in, it was like, I just felt like it looked really, really beautiful. So anyway, that's my tip to you, that if you're interested in the La Mer products and maybe you're not quite ready to kind of commit to a moisturizer, check out this skin tint. I think it is really quite lovely, and I think you will get a good sense of how the product feels on your skin. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. This was day 4 of foundation week. We've got one more day. We've got a biggie coming up tomorrow. Definitely keep an eye out for that. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified of my uploads, and I'll see you in my next video.